Welcome to the Sports Arena, your front row ticket to the best in sports talk and entertainment. Great analysis, top name guests, and news you can use from the sports landscape. So take your seats, sit back, and relax, as you are now in the Sports Arena.
You know what you're capable of. Fix it.
And here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Wins. I'm like, all right, let's go. We get losses. I'm like, I need a minute. Let me collect myself. What's going on, everybody? Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena here. As I start all my shows, we need justice for Breonna Taylor. We need justice for Elijah McClain. We need justice for Vanessa Gillian. With that, let's get down to business. So I have the privilege again of once again welcoming back WFLA sports reporter, Ms. Karen Loftus. Karen, how are you? Thank you for joining me here on the Sports Arena yet again.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me on again, Eric.
I appreciate it so much. So this has been a very interesting week in the world of sports, in the world of football, and most importantly, with Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So I know you are on these calls, you're at training camp, but I guess the biggest news is the fact that Leonard Fournette decided to jump from Jacksonville and drive about 3 hours south to get here to Tampa Bay to join Tom Brady, Rob Gronkowski, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, Shady McCoy, Rojo, Keyshawn Vaughn. Did I forget it? I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of people. But you have to talk to me about the impact now that Leonard Fournette is going to make becoming a running back for Tom Brady and the Bucs.
Yeah, I mean, you cannot overstate the magnitude of this signing. Leonard Fournette is such a quality player, and I actually had the pleasure of covering him back at LSU. He's a New Orleans guy, so I've known his talent for a little while now, and I mean, it was exactly what Bruce Arians was saying yesterday. When you get the chance to sign a running back of that caliber, I mean, you have to jump at that opportunity, and he brings something that the other running backs in that Bucs locker room didn't have. I mean, nobody is as big, as strong, and as physical as Leonard is. Nothing against the other guys. It's just different styles of running backs. And it was exactly what Arian said yesterday. He's like, you have a chance to bring an outstanding player to an okay position group.
Yeah, and I mean, I've looked at this, and I have been saying since Brady arrived at One Buck Place that everything is falling in line for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers this season. They have an opportunity not only to create a legacy, but create such a dynamic and unique situation. They have the capability right now with everything in front of them to be the first team to not only host, but win a Super Bowl, cementing Tom Brady as the GOAT, but everybody else just kind of falling in line. And it was a question of which big names or which superstars were going to make that journey from where they were to Tampa Bay. And we've just seen the names one after the other just continually show up. Let me ask you, Karen, on the offensive side of the ball, you have all of these weapons, something that Brady has had maybe in spurts here or there. But what are you seeing with the cohesion and the continuity of this team as they gear up for week one?
I think the biggest asset for them right now is Tom Brady. And I know that may sound obvious, but when you have so many new parts, new pieces in that offense, major playmakers, you need somebody at the helm who has the experience and who can be that extra coach to bring everybody up to speed at a record-setting pace, if you will. You know, when you have somebody like Tom Brady, he's just an incredible mind out there. And Devin White was even saying yesterday in his Zoom, and obviously Devin White is on the other side of the ball, but he had a lot to say about Tom Brady's intelligence level and percentages that he was throwing out. Like, okay, if we do this on first down, if we get a sack or we take a loss, you know, the percentage of getting a touchdown decreases this much. And so to have somebody that's cerebral and who's seen that many, every single play you could imagine on defense, to have him there leading the pack and bringing all of these other weapons up to speed, I think that's going to be the difference, and maybe taking some of the question marks out of, are they going to be cohesive enough come next week for the Saints. I think that having Brady and his experience and his intelligence is going to bring everybody along at a rapid pace that you may not have had with somebody else at quarterback.
Yeah, and I'm very surprised at how quickly this whole entire team was able to adapt to not only Bruce Arians' style of play, but then also Tom Brady and the mental capacity of what he pictures and what he sees when it comes to reading defenses. I want to talk about Scotty Miller because apparently this has been the young man that everybody is kind of keened and honed in on. What are your thoughts on Scotty Miller?
I have to say that I agree. And, I didn't follow much of his career last year, but I've been playing catch up, having gotten here in January. But it seems like he has made incredible strides this offseason. And the thing that everybody keeps talking about is his speed. And I think he was reliable last year. He was definitely used in certain situations. He wasn't, the big dude. They had their, they have their talent with Godwin and Evans.
Yes.
So he was more of a role player, but I think he's going to be somebody that's going to step up and have more of a role, and maybe as that third receiver for the Bucs. But Brady is all in on him. He's a big fan of Scotty Miller. You hear the way he talks about him, about his work ethic, and his performance out on the field. You need somebody who's reliable, number one, who's going to catch the ball, but then also that speed is big, and that was the thing that a lot of people were talking about, is that he's probably the fastest guy on the team. That was a pretty, him or Cyril, but Cyril just got waived.
All right.
Cyril got waived, so I think Scotty has that title now.
Gotcha. Yeah. And again, talking with Miss Karen Loftus, WFLA sports reporter. So I have to ask you, you spoke of Devin White, so I want to transition to the defense. And, Todd Bowles now having a second year with this team and being able to incorporate, again, guys like Ndamukong Suh, Jason Pierre-Paul, Vita Vea. We spoke of Devin White. Just so many key names on this defensive side. What have you seen with the practices as far as everybody just kind of buying in, if you will, to that Todd Bowles system?
So that's going to be another thing where the continuity is crucial. Having the same coaching staff back and pretty much every single defensive player back. Devin White was saying specifically that everything slowed down for him, and that's a big thing when you make that leap to the NFL is game speed, and you're thinking so much. So once players can get past that, and a lot of those guys are still at that level where they're getting past that adjustment period and they're thinking less. And as soon as you get a talent like Devin White thinking less and just reacting, you're going to have such a vast improvement. And I think he's just one example of all the pieces on the defensive side that are coming along quickly. They know Todd Bowles' system. They know how to anticipate what he's going to game plan for. And the other thing with him, they have all said, all of the defensive guys that I've spoken to over the past few months have all said he is just incredibly intelligent in putting everybody in situations where they are going to excel.
Wow.
Shaq Barrett spoke about that too, is that they just sing his praises. There's a lot of respect for his defensive mind and the way he uses his players in such a way that maximizes their potential.
Yeah. So I got to ask you one last question. And again, thank you for joining me here on the Sports Arena. We have to talk about the rookie Tristan Wirfs because, I was able to catch some of his interviews and he appears to be this very humble giant, if you will. What are you seeing from him? Because he is playing such a key role on the left side of the offensive line, knowing that guys like Cameron Jordan, especially week one, are kind of gunning for him to get to Brady.
Yeah, I think it's going to be telling when that first snap of the Saints game happens. If Tristan Wirfs is out there and getting as much playing time as we think he will. Because that's the thing, like I was saying, the speed of the game. He could have a wonderful training camp, but when you're thrown into an actual NFL game, I think that's the wild card and yet to be seen. But he is a big dude. Like you see the numbers,
Yes.
like you see his height and his weight. But then when you see him in person, you're like, wow, he is huge. So that's definitely something that's striking about him. But the other thing, when you talk about Cam Jordan, Cam Jordan is a freak and he is quick. He has quick hands. And Tristan Wirfs is going to have his hands full against somebody of that caliber right out of the gates. That's going to be a true test and a matchup that people should watch to see if he can hold his own or if it's going to be a welcome to the NFL moment.
Yeah, and we know plenty of rookies have had their welcome to the NFL moment on week one. We're just hoping that for Tristan Wirfs' sake, he's able to at least contain and allow Brady to do his thing. Karen, thank you so much for joining us. Before we let you go, the last time you were on the Sports Arena, I asked you to give me a prediction when it came to the record for the Bucs, and you said 13-3, and I was taken aback for a minute. Let me just say, I am a believer right now. I am on board. 13-3. Now with the addition of Leonard Fournette, and again, all the pieces that are surrounding Brady and surrounding this Bucs team. I've said it in March. I'm gonna say it in September. Everything is falling into place for this organization and this team to create and have history. So, Karen, thank you so much for joining me on the Sports Arena. You know what? I know WFLA Sports Reporter, but let people know when they can watch you.
Yeah, absolutely. So Fridays and Saturday nights, I'm anchoring our shows, our 6 and our 11 shows. And then also throughout the week, I'll be reporting. We have a bunch of specials coming up. I know we're talking about Bucs now, but we have our Road to the Cup series of specials that are going on as long as the Lightning are in the playoffs. Sunday nights at midnight after Super Sports Sunday. So lots of opportunities. I mean, WFLA is the spot for all of your coverage of Bucs and Lightning and Rays and everything in between.
Awesome. Thank you so much for your time. Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Miss Karen Loftus, WFLA Sports Reporter. Make sure you guys check her out. Everyone have a great day, and we will talk to y'all soon. See ya.